In this journey called life, we are faced with so many choices and decisions that has its very own unpredictable outcomes and consequences. As we navigate through it, though, we must remain true to ourselves, our values, and our purpose. In this episode, we will explore a glimpse of life through the experiences of our guests. I'm Janiella, and this is My Life, My Journey, Jamaica and Beyond. Okay, so transitioning from Venezuela and kind of going to New York with your aunt being able to help you with getting a house, and how was that process for you at that time?
Well, first of all, I was very confident that once I got to the United States, I'll be able to improve on whatever I had before. And also that the children would benefit more here than in Venezuela, which I saw that the economy was going to change, the political situation was changing, and there was not an atmosphere for education. I myself, I wasn't satisfied with my that I had reached the end of my educational thing, and I believe that there was more opportunity, wider opportunity to improve your knowledge of those things. So once I got here, I started to look around for jobs, employment. But prior to my coming to New York, I was in communication with the Fordham University, one of the deans there. So when I came and started looking around for jobs, couldn't pick up any job on my own. I called up the university, and they invited me to come and meet with the dean. And went there, and while I was there, I saw he had a notice board of all these jobs, and surprisingly, he never mentioned any of those jobs on the wall to me. But I haven't seen it. I said, photographic memory, I remember the bank. And when I asked around for the bank, I found it was not too far from Fordham University. So I went over there. At first, they began to talk about my age, that I was too old to be a teller.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Okay, so you went from being too young
to being too old.
Oh my goodness.
That was like I was 43 or thereabout. Yeah. So I wasn't able to get any job right away, any other job. So I sat around, and the guy who was interviewing me at the bank, he got up. I think he went for lunch, having told me that they can't employ me. So this lady came and sat down during his lunch hour. So she asked me why I was there. I said I was here for an interview. And she sat down and said, well, did you do the test? I said, no. She said, well, here are the papers. You got to do the test first. He didn't give it to me.
Wow.
So I did the test. And again, I was 100%. So when he came back from lunch, he said, what is this guy doing here? And she said, he took the test. You interviewed him and he took the test. I said, what? I thought I told him that he couldn't get this job. So well, he took the test. Here's the result. And so he had to accept me. And I worked at the bank for maybe about 9 months. Prior to leaving the bank, there was a specially set civil service exam for New York City, because I think they had like going into depression. The economy was going into depression, and they was trying to extend the employment. So they scheduled a number of jobs. And I think it was about 40,000 people took this thing, the exam. And I happened to have, I came out like 11th or 12th, one of those numbers, out of 40,000.
Wow.
So when I show you, there's a civil service paper that comes in New York. It brings your name and everything. So when I showed it to them in the bank, they said, Lloyd, you got to start packing up because these people are coming for you. I said, no, I mean, it's a lot of people that go through. And by the time I hung up, finished talking to them, a call came in for me. And they wanted me to come in right away.
Wow.
But you had to wait for your list, your list number. And they told me that they had already mailed the letter. So I should bring that in as soon as I can.
So then basically your experience in the public health administration kind of, or public administration, you know, being able to do that, that helped you
Right.
as well too in that.
Yes.
So what would be your biggest accomplishment or the thing that you feel like was your biggest accomplishment at that time?
Well, first I headed up the Department of Finance, New York City Department of Finance. I was the chief, you say tax collector for New York City. That means I had to go out and find money where whatever source of taxes that I could procure to run the budget, the New York City budget, especially the payroll. So I had to think of all sort of tax schemes. For instance, one of the things I noticed when I sent out my inspectors, they would come back with a lot of information about small business, and in particular barbers, hairdressers, those other people, a lot of them all over the place. People who sell hot dogs and so on.
Right.
And what their main observation was that most of these small business, whenever they collected money, they put it in their pocket.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So we designed a plan to sort of make them more, the reporting system to save them from getting into tax problems. We would issue an estimate. Because if my inspector stands there for an hour and see you selling all these hot dogs,
Right.
$2, $5, and you're pushing it in your pocket and you think, you're definitely robbing the government.
Right, exactly.
You know, one of the things again I instituted was like children who were on vacation period. Everybody had to get a license. So you come in, you get a license to sell ice cream or patty, and then within 2 months you have to go back to school.
Right.
So you haven't filed tax for a year, only 2 months tax. So what we would do is try to take out people who are just doing it for the holidays, for the school holidays. Try to take those out so there wouldn't be a tax assessed for tax. That I found was one helpful way of service to the students. You know, that was one way. And another thing, when I left the board of it, the finance department, I went to the Board of Education and became a quality assurance inspector. And what that does is that in every aspect of procurement, and contracts, we as a quality assurance inspector had to make sure that the performance of the contracts were carried out.
So then when you were doing that with like the taxation and things like that, how did basically your previous experience play a role in how comfortable you were being able to transition from what you were doing into that?
Well, I took the job at finance because I was doing accounting at college.
Okay.
So that fit and then my bookkeeping knowledge from the railway, and also I'd done all of my courses, what we call it, London Chamber of Commerce. All of my accounting courses and law courses, they were from England, London Chamber of Commerce. And so that my background, my educational background was ready for finance, you know. So, and even at College of Arts, as we call it, College of Arts, we dealt with cost accounting, which was normally, you know, people were taking CPA and that, but that college offered us cost accounting at that level. So I was ready for, prepared for the finance.